Hey guys, I just wanted to put this quick video together during a break to just fill you in on one of the tips that I have been trying out this year. And it's a bit of a take on some other concepts that I have heard of to be more organized and get more done in the day. So what that was something called time blocking. And that is where you take a look at your calendar and really block out time, both on your professional side and your personal side, for specific activities. What I found after about a month and a half of trying to time block is that my schedule just wasn't working with it. And I really wanted to give it a chance, but I just couldn't make it happen. So what I ended up doing was taking the same list of things that I had time blocked, which was certain activities with my kids, things I wanted to make sure that they did on a weekly basis, activities with my husband, certain aspects of my work that I want to make sure that I'm covering at any given time. And I took all of those things and I made a list instead. And I kind of call it the rotating list. I'm open to suggestions. It'd be great to have a better name. But what I really did was think about all those areas and made this long list. And what I do is I carry the list around with me and make sure that at any given time, I sort of know how long it's been since I've done one of the items. So let me give you, for example, here's what my list looks like right now. Of course, it's laminated because that's just who I am. But the couple of things on my list for my work and professional, I've got on one side and I've got personal stuff on the other. And a few examples of what I have here. Innovation, I like to create time and space to think specifically about vision casting and creating innovation in the work that we do. Revenue growth, because that's something that obviously is a part of our business. Calling clients and making sure I'm keeping those relationships going. Change management, because that's also a good portion of the things that I have to be aware of at any given time for our agency right now. Talent investment, and making sure I am spending that time with the talent. Collaboration, making sure I don't just stay in my bubble in sort of that silo space and get out and collaborate with some of my fellow coworkers and get their new ideas. Strategy and planning, sort of that long view, not exactly the visioning and innovation, but what are we going to do in the next year? Administration time, making sure that my time is in and making sure that I've done my expense reports and other things that are required of me in the office. Relationship building time, making sure I'm intentional about building that in. The client experience and just thinking about what might it be to be one of our clients right now and what is that like and what am I going through. Positioning myself in the agency and in my job workplace and positioning others as well and making sure that we're doing a good job with that. Gratitude and thankfulness. I do have to remind myself to make time for that, carve that space out and do that. Business reading and thought leadership, big idea planning, and of course, celebrating. And you'll see that that's in a little bit different color down here because it's something that I always forget to do. So I got to remind myself that we need to celebrate those successes before we move forward to the next thing. So what I do with the list here, and I'll go over my personal list as well, but what I do with this is that it helps me stay accountable to all of these areas, but not all at the same time. I was trying to time block this into a given week, and it's really a lot to bite off. Maybe I can make that list smaller, but these are all areas that I think are really important for our workplace and our business. So instead, what I do is I sort of work some of these things into the week, and then I make sure I keep track of how long it's been since I focused on a given area. Doesn't mean I don't do gratitude and thankfulness all the time. It just means that it'll remind me here where my weaker areas are and where I need to put a little bit more effort in the coming week. So on the personal side, I do the same thing there. And I want you to have to feel guilty about not doing certain things with your family or for yourself or with your husband every single day, right? So there are different ways to do that, and one of them is this list again. So let me just read you a couple of things that are on there. And again, I sort of rotate through them and go, wow, I haven't done that one in a while. I really need to spend some outdoor time. Or, you know, I really haven't spent time investing in my husband in this way. Let me go ahead and do that. So instead of beating myself up over it, I can just remind myself that it's okay and I have time, and I'll go ahead and do that this next week. And I'm gonna just appreciate all the things I've been able to get to. So on that personal list, I have a few different things. So girls' journals. So I do write notes to my kids. I'm really committed to doing that. I know it sounds crazy, like who has time to do that? And a lot of times I don't. That's why it's here to remind me to at least get something in there. Trust me. I went to put an entry in the other day and realized it had been almost a year. So don't feel any guilt over those kind of things. Just pick up from where you are and keep going. Working out, I have to remember it this way because honestly, I can say that I'm gonna do 3 times a week, but oftentimes that gets moved around. A lot of things get crazy. Just gotta remember here, am I making my commitment to working out? Doing the rosary, that's something personally as a family that we wanna do consistently over time. Discipleship, that's important to me as a mother, both for my kids and for myself and our family. So I have kids discipleship here separately, so I don't sort of get away with that sometimes saying, well, I did it for my kids and not for me. Reading in general, I think that we need to always be reading. I want everybody to be well educated in our family, but also learn creativity and learn about new worlds and different places. So that's important to me. Being outdoors, just making sure that we're not always sitting inside doing movies or puzzles or things like that, but that we just get outside and get dirty every once in a while. Fasting, I think it's important for us to fast something here and there. So sometimes that could be food for a day or something. That could also be electronics and screen time. I just think it's helpful to build a good amount of self-discipline and self-sacrifice. Staging, I think it's really important, and it's something we forget to do all the time. Staging, I go into that in great detail in a lot of the things that I write about. But for us, we really need to focus on staging, or we just can't get everything in the day. We forget everything. Nobody has a car seat. Nobody has the keys. It can get really frustrating. So we try to make sure we have staging time in the evening. But it falls off the radar as well. So sometimes I need the reminder here, we haven't been staging lately, so let's go ahead and do that. Quarterly check-in, that's a reminder to me to say, oh, that's right, let's sit down either for myself or my husband and I and say, where are we at on the goals and things that we want to accomplish as a family. Mass readings for church, volunteer opportunities, going on retreat, which I love, and I have to remind myself that I need that retreat time. Enrichment in my marriage. Am I being the best version of me? I need that reminder. Am I thinking like a servant? Have I shown gratitude? I have gratitude on this list as well, because it's another area that I think is important even in your personal life. Coordinating, are we doing enough coordinating so we know what's going on with each other, my husband and I, setting goals, administrative things, paying the bills, etc. Visioning for our family and for our future. Having a staycation. I have to remind myself to take some of my days for work and just stay at home, catch up on things, make a little space in our lives for things like that. Momcation. I've done this before where I was the only one who took a staycation and I was at home. It actually helped me to launch this blog in the first place. And I think it's a great tool to let everybody stay at work and stay in school and be home and get the things done that you've been looking forward to doing and sort of fill up your own cup. Contemplation, I think it's really important to create space in your life to just be thinking and just kind of leave some airspace for thoughts to flow. We get so busy and so caught up in the day. I have to remind myself to take a break for contemplation. Self-denial, again, I think it's really important to have that as a regular part of your life. Bookstore, coffee shop time. This is a personal one for me. I'm so enriched by spending a couple of hours at a Starbucks or in a neat coffee shop, just reading and catching up and journaling and enjoying that time by myself over a nice cup of coffee. And lastly, reflection, similar contemplation, just to remember to think about the things that we have and the life that we have, to appreciate that and to think about where we really want to go with it. So again, this is my rotating list. I do it for professional and for personal use. And this is a guilt trap. This helps trap all your guilt for you so that you are not thinking about all the things you didn't do today, but thinking about, hey, I did this one and this one this week and that's great, and next week my focus will be a little bit different. So I hope this is a helpful tip for you, and I'd love if you'd leave your comments at the end of this video.